7 tips for finding and keeping awesome tradesmen. Tradesmen are like eggs. There are good ones and bad ones, and often it's hard to tell the difference. Whether the job is a minor maintenance job or a major renovation, some time spent on finding and screening good tradesmen will ensure that it's done with a minimum of grief. And don't underestimate the amount of grief a dodgy tradesman can give you. So here are some tips for finding and keeping good tradesmen. The first one is to employ locals. Now this will ensure that your trades don't have to factor in hours of travel time into their quotes, and more importantly, will have a local reputation to protect. Now it's not essential that they live in the area, more that they do the bulk of their work in the area. So where to find these good tradesmen? So a good place to go is to find tradesmen who advertise in your local paper and on Gumtree, because they're going to the effort of advertising in the area that they're planning to work. Check out the local building sites, and you can even take photos of the utes with the sign written sides so that you can take their details down photographically rather than having to write it down. Ask friends and family for referrals. Check online directories such as True Local. These are really good, particularly if they have feedback scores. Ask your architect, real estate agent or property manager. They generally have good people that work for them. And check the industry association for trades in your area. Now always get at least 3 quotes. Now the best way to get the quotes is to produce a scope of work or a list of things to be done and how they're to be done. Invite the tradesman to look at the site and then discuss the work you require, what materials they'll be required to provide and what you'll be providing. They will often make suggestions on better and more cost-effective ways to get the desired outcome. Use this initial meeting to weed out the ones with attitude. When you bring someone into your home to work, it's important that it's someone that you like and trust. Set a deadline for the quotes. Some may not turn up at all. When you receive the quotes, remember the cheapest isn't always the best. Check that everything is included and you are comparing apples for apples, and then complete your due diligence or screening process before you award the contract. And never employ tradesmen who knock on your door out of the blue asking for work. This is called cold calling, and they are usually crooks rather than legitimate tradesmen looking for an opportunity to rip off anyone who is naive enough to fall for their trap. Next step is to do your due diligence. So if you've chosen your preferred trade based on their quote, then you need to make sure that they're up to the job. If you don't do this, you have no way of knowing that they're capable of doing the job. There are 5 checks that you should do. 1, you should check their trade license to make sure that it exists. 2, check their insurance cover. As a minimum, you would be making sure they have workers' compensation and public liability cover. 3, check that they have a white card or an occupational health and safety qualification. 4, you would do a Google search on the contractor's name and look for reviews. And 5th, you would do a reference check where you would actually go and look at some of the tradesman's work. So ask for some past clients that you can actually go and check his work out or her work out. And once you've decided on which trade you're going to go with, if the contract is over $1,000 worth, make sure that you actually use a contract. You can obtain a simple contract, a standard form contract, from the Department of Fair Trading. But as a minimum, the contract should include the details of both parties, the contractor's license number, the scope of work including the materials to be supplied, the agreed price, and the date and signature of both parties. On a contract value of less than $20,000, you should not be asked to pay any more than 10% deposit. So once you've identified a good contractor and got them signed up on a contract, the next thing to do is to actually look after them. Because if you don't look after them, then they won't be there for you next time. So when they turn up, make sure that they have access to a clean toilet, drinking water, and somewhere to sit down for their breaks. Usually an outdoor setting is ideal. Tradesmen usually come to work well prepared with food and drinks, but I like to offer hot drinks and snacks, really just as a gesture of goodwill. When the job is complete, check that it is done to your satisfaction before you pay. When it's complete, make sure you pay punctually. Don't leave them hanging for weeks on end for their money, and let them know you appreciate their work if the job is done well. That way, the next time you need that trade, you will have someone ready to go.